What's up, guys? This is JTQ9 of SSX-1, and welcome back to the channel. Season 34, War number 10, against Salty. This one here, I elected to wait an extra day to do the recording because I was not in a good mood the day of the war. I was still in a very, very bitter, sour mood the day after the war. And you will see why as we get to it. I mean, obviously you can probably tell from my thumbnail of what happened and where and whatnot. But yeah, anyways, we'll get on with this as we usually do. And let's have some fun with this. So 3169 Salty against us. Here's a Void fight that I haven't taken very much this season, actually. So I was a little rusty. And as we go through, you know, I've got to make sure I'm boosted up. And ready to go here. So Void, Penny, Hazard Shift. Never taken this, no, taken this a lot of times. But again, as I mentioned just before, I was a little bit rusty and I don't know. I was just, my timings were off for whatever reason in this war. I can't really understand it. But anyway, so as you know, the strategy here is I like to throw the SP1. And I think I was getting very close to SP2s and just being kind of, I don't want to say lazy with my counts and lazy with the timer tracking, but I ended up taking some damage kind of as the fight goes on. But anyway, for the most part, throw the SP1 because the SP2 does very little damage. As you can see, throwing an SP2 into the block is always good to eat a 5-hit combo to the face, as he's getting a Petrify on me to then try to build up to a 10-hit combo very quick. So, I mean, fortunately, that didn't do more damage than it did. And again, I'm in a bad spot here as my 5-hit combo will still keep me under, so it took off a little bit more damage than I would have liked. And yeah, the only thing I'm thinking is rip potions for the next couple fights that I will be taking with her. So anyway, for the most part, very safe fight. You've seen me take it 100 times. And just let's just let the video play on, I guess. At this point, I'll let the music kind of kick in and you guys can pay attention for the last 5 seconds here as we go through it. So anyway, with that one done, now I've got the Gully 2099. I thought I could also take it with Penny, to be honest, but we elected that the best strategy here was to go with Quake. So unfortunately, Quake, again, as you know with the war videos, is very, very boring. And I don't know, my timing was off because for the most part, I believe, well, I got the solo here. And with regards to how she finishes her combos, so she swipes upwards as like an uppercut or she kicks at you. So those are basically the two movements you have to pay attention to as their combo ending, as their combo enders. But I don't know, kind of coming up, I think I took a hit or I just don't know what happened. And then kind of got in a little bit of trouble, but I don't know if I had a heavy finger or my thumb got caught or who knows. But anyway, for the most part, so far so good, except the fact that I threw a heavy there that I didn't want to do. And then, yeah, I take an overhead heavy for some reason, get the degen on me. And now she's over bar power, so I was lucky that at that point she didn't throw the SP1 when I was holding the heavy, because that would have likely done even more damage. So anyway, crisis averted, fortunately. And we move on to the next fight. So my next fight is the Sasquatch. Kind of mini on leading to lane 7, 8, and 9. Again, I was taking this fight with I-Bomb. My strategy here was basically get to an SP2 and then spam the SP1s as quick as possible. Have some power back boosts on just to try to maximize the power back, just to avoid him going into Wrath and getting cornered. So I believe if he hits into my block here, I also gain a Disorient. So the idea, I was trying to sort of play him like back in the day if you're playing someone stun immune without kind of getting the heavy. So I was looking for kind of like an intercept there, and then just to avoid getting that on, pushing him back so I don't get kind of stuck in the corner, and hopefully he throws kind of one of those heavies. But you can parry every once in a while. That time the Disorient didn't stick like it did there, where I have now 2 on me, so I'm going to make it a little bit harder. And because I have the kind of not the pre-fight, but the oh my gosh, I can't even think. Defiance. That I'm not gaining any buffs, so the Mystic Dispersion isn't an issue. So the idea is, you know, I started, like I said, with the Advanced Power Boost just to get to the SP2 quicker. And now he's in Wrath, so I have to be a little bit more careful because he's going to be unstoppable a lot more, and I don't want to take any shots or get hit with that SP1 because then I'll be stunned and then he can do all kinds of damage. So I'm trying to bait out that, but for there I was a little bit late on my... Or sorry, I was a little bit early on my counter, which I think he was still unstoppable. I'd have to slow that down and watch it again, actually. I remember taking some damage and I couldn't really remember where it came from, but that was that. So next one here is Domino on Spite. You've seen me take this, I think, the last 5 wars. Anyways, it's starting to get up there, almost more than the Penny Void fight that I was taking lots of last season. But anyway, so this is a standard one. This one I have zero fear of whatsoever. I'm super comfortable here. Throw on the Invulnerability boost just to be safe. I was going to use it for the next 2 fights. And the idea here is, again, try to get to a Penny cycle. Throw the SP1 as she's about to cross a bar of power. That time I noticed she was lucky, so I elected not to. I think I ended up pushing her here to close to the SP2 and said because she was stunned, I was hoping that Lucky wouldn't trigger, and unfortunately I got my SP1 in. So now the idea is basically, well, beat the SP2, but build back up to my SP2 and then just watch her melt away in no time at all. So it's usually around 40 hit combo when I get to my SP2, and then by the end of it, you know, it's 45, 47, 48 hits and the fight is done. So just like that, so far so good. War's been going well, no real problems. Again, here's a Mysterio with the Mystic kind of bonus that he has there. And again, I probably could have taken it with Penny. I probably would have liked to have taken it with Penny just because I find Quake is so squishy that if you take 1 or 2 hits these days, especially when you're up against R3s or R4s, that things can go bad. So I haven't Quaked Mysterio in a long time. I still sped it up just because obviously it's very boring. But I think I ended up getting myself into trouble because I kept throwing the Aaron Heavies with this. So I know the idea is when he throws that major right-handed uppercut, that's when his combo ends. And I think, was it a left hook? Or no, when he comes in with 2 hands, that's what it was. When he comes in with 2 hands, that's also his combo ender. So you just have to basically be attention to that. But he's also, yeah, as I take a 5-hit combo there, push him to the SP1, which means now that, anyway, it's okay. It didn't do that much damage, and pretty comfortable in the fight overall. Like I said, I used to use Quake a lot, so I'm very comfortable with her movements and how it is. But just for some reason today, I was off, and probably because I had taken these fights really late, because unfortunately we had some flooding happen at work, so I was at work beyond past midnight and got back and trying to coordinate fights. So because of that, I couldn't take this Maw in the morning when I'd like to take in the night when there's peace and quiet around on a different device on my iPad, whereas this one here is just a horrible fight. I went in with an okay strategy and then got intercepted, and then just, these fights really hurt me. So I ended up playing these ones at work and basically sitting in a parking lot because I didn't want to get interrupted on a phone as opposed to an iPad, and just never felt comfortable. It was just not a good environment to be taking fights in, especially at this point. Well, I think the only good news is the fight or the war at this point was basically already done. But you still never want to die, and especially not just once. But you're gonna watch here that first fight was just absolutely horrible. This second one goes a little bit better, but again, the same result ends up happening. So another, well, call it a multi-death war for the first time in a long time, and the strategy here was supposed to be, again, SP2 to the SP1s. Don't get the disorient on. Don't take any of the try to keep the D-Gen off as much as possible. Don't take any specials. But it has brute force, and I happen to take an SP2, and look at my health just melt away there. So I should have changed that SP1 in hindsight, and that was my mistake. But in the end, I couldn't overcome it, and didn't end up taking the fight down. I was too tilted and frustrated, and then someone else had to clean it up for me. But we ended up losing in the end. Fortunately, those 2 deaths weren't the major reason why we lost the war. I think we were already at 10 or 9 at that point, so we had already kind of lost the war at that point, but it's still something that I don't want to do. I was really upset and tilted, and thought I should have been able to get it down. And then when I'm not in an environment where you're stressed about work background or potentially phone calls coming in, that things can unfortunately happen. So that being said, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We are 5-5 on the season, still in Masters, but we need to finish strong in these last 2 wars, and I definitely want to have a better showing because I was extremely frustrated and tilted after that. So thanks again for watching, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.